Melissa Plaskoff. Today we have Dr. Mandy Goldman here with us, and she's an educator, trainer, and consultant whose work spans the health spectrum to include women's wellness, parenting, adolescent sexuality, teen pregnancy prevention, eating disorders, on and on and on and on, and the importance of positive body image. This is why she is here today, and she is going to give us important messages to instilling positive body image in your child. And this is so important today. Welcome, Mandy. I should say Dr. Goldman, but we're friends. I'm just going to let you lead the show and educate me, the listeners, and viewers, because this is out of control these days. I think I was visiting with my children on the way in and giving them kind of the update on who's on the show. And they said, oh, we look at the TV and we see people like Justin Bieber and different singers, and they look a certain way. And I said, do you realize the team that's behind them, the photoshopping that's going on? And children, even as adults, we don't really get that. And you see someone who's lost, 250 pounds on The Biggest Loser, and you think, oh my, I need to be that person. And it messes with your head. So, okay, welcome. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. And just as you mentioned, it is a big problem today. I always kind of like to give a state of the union of facts of what are going on that we see with children and teens. So just for instance, roughly half of third, fourth, and fifth graders report being worried about their weight, having been on a diet. In another study, 80% of fourth graders said they were afraid of being fat. And actually in that same study, 60% of them said they would rather be dead than fat.
Are you kidding me?
No, and it really is alarming, especially if you look at our obesity rates are continually climbing. So roughly a third of them are overweight, but 60% of them would rather be dead than fat. So it's really concerning. And I find that I started doing these talks because parents, I talk a lot about adolescent sexuality too, and I find that parents talking about weight with their children is as stressful as it is having like the sex talk.
No, it is. And we try to stay away from both of them at this point, but it's also when you go for your annual exam with your child and they chart your child right in front of you and they say, well, it looks like the BMI. These conversations are happening right in front of my kids.
Right.
They get it. They're hearing it. And I'm super uncomfortable.
Right. And actually, I will talk a little bit about that. And is that talking about weight in front of children, especially with pediatricians, is a big no-no. And it is interesting, I think, because obesity is such an epidemic that pediatricians are so focused on, oh my gosh, I have a kid with a high BMI. We got to have this conversation right now, and they're kind of alarmist about it. And our recommendation, and actually guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics, is not to have those discussions about weight in front of children, that if they do have concerns, they talk about that with you privately. The other common, and then I'll kind of talk about some messages, but that we hear a lot with pediatricians is them putting children on diets. And again, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation is not dieting for weight loss. It is actually improving healthy behaviors.
No, and that's
with
what we try to talk about. That we say, you want to eat healthy,
but I get
because
that question so common.
You'll feel better, you'll have more energy to play and whatever. But at the same time, they see what's out there. They know that they say, wow, you're trying to cut my carbs.
Right. They do see that. So a couple of things that I recommend for parents, because I know it's so stressful, and this is my number one thing, and I know we have friends that we talk about this all the time, is first thing I would say for moms and dads have actually been found to be very influential, especially with young daughters, of gaining a clear understanding of your own issues related to body image and how much do you make comments about your own body, like, oh my gosh, do I look fat in this? Oh, I was so horrible this weekend. And really, you're not talking about partying all weekend, but maybe having a few extra brownies and talking about these things. Or these jeans are a little too tight. Right. Comments like that. And not just only about yourself, but about other people. So like things like, oh, she shouldn't be wearing that skirt, or wow, she has put on a lot of weight. So not only your own comments about your own body, but about other people's bodies. In fact, studies have shown that girls really internalize, if their fathers are constantly commenting about other women's bodies in front of them, they internalize those messages. So that's number one, is just being real clear about what are your own issues and kind of getting a good understanding of that, and then curbing those comments about your body, other people's bodies, even if they're compliments, even if, wow, you look great, you've lost weight, still comes down to that internalizing of what we call this like thin ideal, which is not what we want. Okay, so that would be number one. The second thing I would say too is modeling best behavior. Just like anything else, children mimic what you do. So I always say eat healthfully and be active. That doesn't mean, you only eat good foods and not bad foods. In fact, we don't even like to label foods good or bad, and that everything in moderation is okay. But the more you model just eating a wide variety of foods and exercising for the sake, again, not saying, oh, I have to go to the gym, I was so bad this weekend, but exercising because you love it and it's fun and it's social and it makes you feel good. So exercising for all of those benefits. The other thing I would say is that diet is a 4-letter word. So we just talked about this a minute ago, but that we shouldn't talk about dieting in front of children, with children. It's never appropriate, even if a child is overweight, that they actually be placed on a diet. It's weight maintenance, not weight loss, always for children that are overweight, with the hopes that they will grow into their bodies. So, 90% of dieters gain their weight back within 1 year, 95% of dieters gain their weight back within 5 years. So we know that diets don't work, yet we spend in this country $50 billion a year on diet industry.
Wow.
So kids know.
And going to that, I mean, what do you, right now, and I know I'm going a little on the side, what about certain multi-level marketing diets that I've been approached by everyone to start.
Right.
Why don't you try this? And have you tried this drink? And it seems like it's working for other people, and you want to support your friends, but at the same time, how do you handle that? Or they say, my kids are doing it for a snack.
Right. I mean, I think it's always hard to navigate that, especially the pressure from outside. And it's just, again, moderation. So, and even if you were choosing to do something, I mean, again, most doctors would advise against the cleanses and everything that, and I tell you, if you talk to any 4th grade girl, they'll say, oh, my mom is only drinking lemon and cayenne, water this week. Or they might think that they're hiding it, parents might, but the children see everything.
It's kind of like the children see and hear. It's almost that lead by example. When you're on the phone and you're talking badly about another mom or a grandparent or whomever, the children, they mimic that same behavior too.
Absolutely.
And they'll be unkind because mom was unkind. Why not? So it's the same.
Right. So it's the same thing. So again, it's just, I think, I'm one of those that I think we should be able to get everything from the foods that we eat. We shouldn't need supplements. If you're eating a wide variety of foods, we should be able to get everything that you need without outside supplements, and that you can have a brownie if you want. You can have, you don't eat the whole plate of brownies, but you just eat, everything in moderation, and that really, that is fine. And if you're eating healthfully. And the other thing I would say, especially with parents that worry, is that, thin does not equal healthy, and that a child that is 10 pounds overweight could actually be healthier than a child that is 10 pounds underweight. So we're kind of stuck in this ideal of what a body should look like, and that people can be very healthy and be overweight. Thin does not equal healthy, and that 60% of our 60% of our body weight is genetics, and 40% is what we do with it. So I always tell people, like, you're not going to get a banana from 2 apples, so that it is important that, your genes are going to be your genes, and you can't diet your way into a size that you're not supposed to be, nor can your child. And so it's, again, just coming down to healthy habits.
And I think we're approaching the holiday season, whether it's Thanksgiving or the other holidays. And with the eating, I mean, to sit there and you watch your child or spouse or whomever eating pie and turkey and whatever. And, as a parent, if you have a child that's having some weight issues or is overweight, do you just let it go?
I mean, I think it's a challenge, but you cannot. What I would say, and what every expert would recommend, is you cannot get into food struggles with your child. That will only, like children that you can always see, children that have been deprived, children that have been regulated, when they go to friends' houses, they overeat.
We were the house.
They hide
my
their
parents
candy.
Had M&Ms out. I mean, they still do.
Right.
And we would have people come to our house as kids when we were little, and they would hide in our pantry and just binge eat.
Right.
And then they'd go home, and their parents would only have wheat bread and crackers.
So studies would show you that doesn't work. In fact, I'll give you a quick little story. I don't think.
No, go for the story. Go.
Okay. All right, well, my son was obsessed with Hot Pockets, and I was horrified. He had one at a friend's house, and I was horrified. I thought, and he insisted on taking one every single day for lunch, and I thought, oh my God, my friends in the cafeteria are going to see my kid eating this. You know what? After like 6 weeks of having a Hot Pocket, maybe twice a day, he was done with them. So it really does show you, like, kids kind of run their course. Like, if you don't restrict them, they do tire of whatever that crazy thing is.
Also,
that they
if you kind of just let it go and let them control it a little bit, they're going to learn maybe it's not that great.
Yes, like he was kind of like, trust me, we had a freezer full of Hot Pockets he never wanted to touch again.
And you were high-fiving
and we
yourself.
Yes,
all day
exactly.
long.
So, I mean, it really is about just giving them control and modeling healthy behaviors yourself.
And any other tips?
I would just say the last thing is that, talk to your kids about media messages that just because the media says we should look one way, that bodies come in all shapes and sizes, and that you are different from your neighbor, you are different from your best friend, but there isn't one shape or size that is right. Everybody's body is perfect just for them.
And I wish that the schools and our physicians would teach the kids this because obviously there's bullying that's brought into this, and media and selfies and Instagram and that whole, you see a picture of a group of people that look beautiful in a bathing suit and you think, oh my gosh, I wanted to be at that party, but I wouldn't look like that. It's just so sad what's happening. And our generation and generations below us need to come up with a way to make a change.
Yes, I think it has to come from the home because they're going to get so many messages from outside, just like you said, that I would say this, and people always ask me, even if my child is overweight, I should tell them that their body is beautiful, and I say, yes, you should. You should tell them they are beautiful just the way they are, that those types of messages are actually would encourage healthier eating than shame-based messages of maybe you could lose a little weight. Those have actually been found to be more harmful than positive body messages, even when a child is overweight.
Wow, you have been so helpful, and I'm so grateful for your expertise and teaching me. I'm going to take this stuff home, and we're going to have a little family meeting. That's what we like to call it, at the Plaskoff House tonight. And if you want to have Mandy come visit you, or if you have questions from Dr. Goldman, Dr. Mandy, please reach her at mgoldman, Golman, at twu.edu. Thank you, Mandy. And we will be back with more Carpool Convo after these messages.
Thanks.